May 7th, 2025, a date that Boeing will never forget. But it wasn't a crash or another safety scandal that shook the aerospace titan. It was something far quieter. An email. The subject line read, "Withdrawal." Sent by Europe's biggest low-cost airline, it marked the beginning of a devastating unraveling of Boeing's carefully constructed order book. Not safety concerns, not poor reviews. The real trigger was a wave of tariffs born from Trump's trade war, a financial earthquake no one expected. A textbook black swan event, rare, unpredictable, and massively damaging. Imagine building a massive house of cards, and one wrong move topples it all. By midday, the damage spread. That first cancellation was just the beginning. 3 more airlines followed, each pulling their orders. The first domino had fallen, and the shockwaves were just beginning to ripple through the entire aviation sector. Flashback to 2018. President Trump imposed a 25% tariff across a wide array of imports. Everything from aircraft components to everyday goods from China. There were no carve-outs, no flexibility, just a brute force tax strategy that shattered global trade norms. For Boeing, the fallout was massive. Take the 787 Dreamliner. It's a marvel of engineering, made from around 30,000 parts sourced globally. Each one arrives just in time, part of a finely tuned logistical ballet. But with tariffs, that choreography broke down. Costs soared, deliveries slowed, and what was once a precision operation turned into a jigsaw puzzle with missing pieces. Boeing's leadership had hoped aerospace would be spared. They were wrong. Instead, the sector was dragged straight into the storm. And Europe didn't sit quietly. The European Union retaliated, imposing its own tariffs, targeting $100 billion worth of U.S. goods. Boeing jets were right in the middle. That meant a 25% tax on every Boeing aircraft sold into the EU. The effects hit hard. Airlines like Emirates began looking at Airbus A350s instead. Air India reopened talks and reconsidered their contracts. The civil aviation sector, once seen as untouchable, became a pawn in a larger geopolitical chess game. Boeing wasn't just losing business, it was losing its traditional shield political protection. What was once a symbol of American strength had become trade war collateral. Behind every Boeing jet is a web of global suppliers. Tariffs disrupted the whole system. In Germany, avionics factories halted production. In Japan, key partners started backing out. Even rare earth materials used in Boeing's electronics were caught in the crossfire as China clamped down. At Boeing's Renton facility in Washington, workers started stockpiling parts, like survivalists preparing for a storm. They knew what was coming. Every delay, every missing component could stop an entire assembly line. Tariffs aren't just taxes, they're time bombs. And they're exploding quietly, especially for smaller suppliers. Take a parts fabricator in Missouri, they had to cut shifts because Boeing's orders dried up. The ripple effects were a stark reminder. Global supply chains are far more fragile than they look. For the first time in 16 years, Boeing's workers went on strike. Their message was loud. We build planes, not trade wars. These weren't just employees. They were the muscle behind America's aerospace legacy. But with layoffs spreading from Arizona to Texas, they were caught in the political crossfire. Their strike wasn't just about paychecks. It was a plea for stability in a system breaking apart. Back in January 2025, Boeing CEO Kelly Ortberg was still optimistic. He believed Boeing could ride out the storm. But by March, the outlook flipped. Emergency board meetings were being called. The tone shifted from calm to panic. Lobbying Congress became Boeing's top priority. The company was pleading for relief, knowing its future was hanging in the balance. When CEOs go from confident to desperate, the crisis isn't coming. It's already here. Meanwhile, Airbus didn't hesitate. As Boeing fumbled, Airbus moved in, poised to capture wavering clients like Air India. The situation got so serious that Airbus and Boeing, normally fierce rivals, released a rare joint statement asking for tariff relief. This wasn't just business competition anymore, it was survival. And when rivals unite, it's a sign the entire system is at risk of collapse. Want to understand just how bad it is? Take a Boeing 787 Dreamliner. Thanks to tariffs, Each jet now costs around $3 million more to build. That's not pocket change. That's the price of a luxury car, added to every single aircraft. Now imagine Boeing trying to sell 100 jets per year. Multiply that premium, $3 million times 100, and you've got $300 million in extra expenses. Inside Boeing's finance department, the mood is bleak. A leaked internal message from the CFO warned that revenue could drop 10% if tariffs continue. And if tensions with China escalate, the hit could balloon to 20%. Imagine a company suddenly losing 20% of its income. That's not bad luck. That's a full-blown crisis. This isn't just some annoying tax burden. Tariffs are threatening the core of Boeing's commercial aviation business. It's like trying to run a marathon with a backpack full of bricks. The weight is crushing, and Boeing's future is hanging in the balance. As the crisis escalated, many hoped Congress would step in. A bill was proposed to exempt aircraft parts from the punishing 25% tariffs. For Boeing, that exemption wasn't a break. It was a lifeline, a chance to breathe, regroup, and keep the lines moving. But that hope was short-lived. The bill fails. The bill fell just 3 votes short in the House. Republicans balked, arguing it would undercut the president's tough stance on trade. But this wasn't just political gridlock. It was a high-stakes standoff with massive economic fallout. Then came a chilling message from the White House. Any interference from Congress might lead to tariffs doubling. Picture trying to plug a hole in a sinking ship, only to be warned that fixing it will make it worse. That's the bizarre reality Boeing was stuck in. This political tug-of-war sent an unsettling signal to businesses and investors alike. When leadership stalls, the market suffers. Boeing was caught in the middle, its survival tied to a broken system that was supposed to protect it. While Boeing tried to stay afloat, new challengers moved in. China's COMAC, long considered a minor threat, suddenly became a real competitor, slashing prices and offering budget-friendly alternatives that airlines couldn't ignore. Meanwhile, Embraer of Brazil made aggressive moves in Africa, landing new deals in territories Boeing once called its own. These weren't side players anymore. They were becoming true contenders on the world stage. Perhaps the most telling shift? Boeing's fallback plan isn't just beating Airbus anymore, it's keeping up with COMAC. That's a dramatic realignment of global aerospace power. And here's the real kicker. The trade war that Western nations started has unintentionally handed China a golden ticket. As tariffs isolate Boeing, COMAC is gaining altitude. It's a case study in how economic battles can completely rewrite industries. Experts see 3 potential futures for Boeing. Best case scenario, the tariffs are lifted. Maybe through negotiation, maybe through a change in leadership. Boeing starts to rebuild, customers regain confidence, suppliers return, and production ramps back up. But Airbus has already claimed a larger market share, so even in recovery, Boeing will be playing catch-up in a more competitive arena. Mid-case scenario, the trade war drags on. Boeing's commercial aircraft division shrinks. Airlines pivot to Airbus and other makers. Boeing leans heavily into its defense contracts and government work to survive. It stays alive, but becomes more of a specialized military contractor than a global commercial leader. Worst-case scenario, COMAC continues to surge. Fueled by internal investment and geopolitical divides, it dominates sales in Asia and emerging markets. Boeing, once a titan of American industry, fades into cautionary tale territory, a victim of trade policy gone wrong. In today's volatile, unpredictable world, there are no guaranteed winners, only survivors. The companies and nations that will endure are the ones that adapt fast, evolve constantly, and navigate the storm without waiting for the weather to clear. Boeing has been through storms before, but this time, the pressure is different. Can they bounce back, or are Airbus and maybe even COMAC the true future of the skies? Drop a comment below and tell us what you think. Is this Boeing's comeback story, or a turning point in global aviation? And if you want to dig deeper into how trade wars, tech rivalries, and political power plays are shaping industries like EVs and semiconductors, smash that like button and subscribe. Next up, Taiwan's chip war, a hidden conflict with massive global stakes.